Take a moment and look at your hands. For 10,000 years, those hands, or hands just like them, have been the sole architects of our civilization. Every great pyramid, every soaring cathedral, every humble brick house you've ever walked past was born from the sweat, the error, and the rhythmic labor of human muscle. Building was a ritual. The sound of a hammer hitting a nail was the heartbeat of progress. But lately, in the suburbs of Austin, in the quiet corners of Eindhoven, and across the deserts of Dubai, that heartbeat is fading. It's being replaced by something else. A low electronic hum, a mechanical whir that doesn't tire, doesn't bleed, and doesn't stop. Right now, as you watch this, a robotic arm is tracing a path over a patch of dirt. It isn't thinking, it isn't judging the heat of the sun. It is simply extruding a specialized layer of concrete over and over with a precision no human could ever hope to replicate. Within 24 hours, a house will exist where there was only dust. No blueprints held by a foreman, no lunch breaks, no mistakes. But this isn't a video about a cool new gadget. This is a video about an extinction. We are standing at the edge of a precipice where the most fundamental human activity, building our own shelter, is being handed over to the machine. And it forces us to confront a terrifying looming question. If we remove the human touch from the very walls that protect us, what are we actually losing? Are we building a utopia of abundance, or are we accidentally printing the end of human purpose? Imagine walking onto a construction site at midnight. Usually, it would be a graveyard of silent cranes and half-finished skeletons. But in the near future, it's alive. There are no floodlights for workers to see because the worker doesn't have eyes. It has sensors. You see a single massive nozzle moving with the grace of a calligrapher, laying down lava that hardens into stone. This is the reality of companies like ICON or COBOD. They aren't just building houses, they are printing them. Why does this matter? Because for centuries, the cost of a home was the cost of human time. To build a wall, you needed a mason. That mason needed years of training, a fair wage, insurance, and rest. But the printer only needs a file and a spark of electricity. In Tabasco, Mexico, an entire neighborhood was printed to withstand earthquakes and poverty. It's a miracle of humanitarian effort. Families who lived in shacks now have walls that can survive a disaster. It is the ultimate solution to the housing crisis. But here is the first small splinter of doubt. When the cost of building drops to near zero, what happens to the value of the person who used to do the work? We've always believed that certain jobs were robot-proof. We thought the machines would take the factory jobs, the repetitive, mindless assembly lines. We told ourselves that craftsmanship was safe. We believed that the intuition of a carpenter, the way a plumber feels a pipe, or the way a mason judges the weight of a stone was something a computer could never simulate. We were wrong. The automation of the construction site is the ultimate test of the manual versus machine dilemma. When we automate a process, we gain efficiency, yes. We gain speed. We gain perfection. A 3D printer doesn't get hung over on a Monday morning. It doesn't have a bad back. It doesn't demand a raise. But perfection is a strange thing. If you look at a hand-built brick wall, you see the imperfections. The slight variations in the mortar, the tilt of a brick. Those are the fingerprints of humanity. They tell a story of effort. What happens to our psyche when we live in a world where nothing has a fingerprint? When every wall is a perfect mathematical extrusion of a software update? We are currently trading the soul of our environment for the logic of an algorithm. We are choosing the machine's efficiency over the human's experience. There are roughly 7 million people employed in the construction industry in the United States alone. These are the last stronghold jobs of the middle class, work that requires physical presence and skill. Now, imagine a CEO of a major development firm looking at two spreadsheets. On one, he has a crew of 50 men, a timeline of 6 months, and a margin of error that could cost millions. On the other, he has 2 technicians, a 3D printer, and a timeline of 3 days. The choice isn't just logical, it's inevitable, but this creates a massive systemic void. As these printers begin to populate our cities, we aren't just seeing the birth of new architecture, we are seeing the slow-motion collapse of a labor class. The question isn't whether the technology works, it clearly does. The question is, what do we do with the hands that are no longer needed? If we automate the doing, what is left for the doer? We've been told that automation will free us to do more creative work. But can 7 million builders all become software engineers? Or are we creating a future where a few people own the printers, and the rest of the world simply watches them print a world they can no longer afford to be a part of? We are at a crossroads. We have perfected the art of making the machine do the work. We have reached the point where a house can be summoned as easily as a song on Spotify. But as the first 3D printed neighborhoods begin to glow under the streetlights, we have to look deeper into the ink being used, because it's not just concrete flowing through those nozzles, it's the data of our lives. And it leads us to a much more disturbing realization. If a machine can build your house, what else can it build? And more importantly, if the machine can do everything better than you, what exactly are you for? We're going to look at the dark print, the side of this revolution that no one is talking about. The moment the machine stops building for us and starts building without us. The first half of this journey brought us to a startling realization. The walls around us are changing. They are becoming faster, cheaper, and more precise. But as we watch the robotic arm trace its final layer on a newly printed villa, a cold shadow begins to stretch over the construction site. We've been looking at the how. Now, we must look at the who. When a man builds a house, he owns his labor. When a machine builds a house, who owns the result? Is it the person who bought the land? Or the corporation that owns the proprietary ink and the encrypted blueprints? We are entering the era of software-defined reality, and it's a world where the very floor beneath your feet might come with a terms and service agreement. Imagine this. You buy a 3D printed home. It's beautiful, sleek, and costs half of what a traditional home would. But 5 years later, you want to add a window. You want to knock down a wall to expand the kitchen. In the old world, you'd grab a sledgehammer and get to work. But in the printed world, the material is a specific, patented polymer concrete blend. The structure was calculated by an AI to be exactly strong enough and no more. If you touch it, you void the warranty. Worse, the digital source code for your house is locked behind a paywall. We are moving from ownership to licensing. If we automate the creation of our world, do we lose the right to modify it? We are creating a closed-source civilization. The intrigue here isn't just about jobs, it's about agency. Are we building homes, or are we printing high-tech cages where every modification requires a digital key held by a billionaire in a different continent? There is a psychological phenomenon known as the IKEA effect, the idea that we value things more when we have a hand in creating them. There is a primal evolutionary satisfaction in looking at something and saying, I made this. But what happens to the human brain when we remove the hard way from existence? If you can print a house in a day, does that house still feel like a home, or is it just a disposable commodity? We are facing a crisis of meaning. When automation removes the struggle, it often removes the reward. We are seeing a generation of consumers who have forgotten how to be producers. This is the great questioning of our era. If the machine does the doing, what happens to the human being? Are we doomed to become a passive species, living in perfect printed boxes, staring at screens, while the machines maintain the world around us? The intrigue lies in the silence. The silence of a world where no one knows how to fix anything because no one knows how anything was made. Let's talk about the social ladder. Historically, construction and manual labor were the rungs of that ladder. It was the way an unskilled worker could build a life, a family, and a future. It was the bedrock of the middle class. By automating this, we aren't just improving construction, we are sawing off the bottom rungs of that ladder. If a 3D printer can do the work of 50 men, those 50 men don't just disappear. They enter a labor vacuum. This leads us to the most uncomfortable question of all. What is the social contract in a world that no longer needs your muscles? Some suggest a universal basic income, others suggest a robot tax, but these are just bandages on a severed limb. The true mystery is how we will redefine value. If a human's time is no longer worth money because a machine's time is free, then what is a human worth? We are approaching a post-labor society, and we are completely unprepared for the vacuum of purpose that follows. But wait, there is a flicker of light in this mechanical darkness. In a small village in Italy, a group of architects is using 3D printing not to replace humans, but to resurrect ancient forgotten techniques. They are using local soil, straw, and husks to print homes that breathe, homes that are carbon neutral, and homes that require human finishing. This is the resolution to our great debate. It doesn't have to be a choice between the sledgehammer and the software. The true potential of the 3D printing revolution isn't the elimination of the worker, it's the liberation of the creator. Imagine a world where the machine does the heavy, dangerous, soul-crushing lifting, but the human provides the intent. We are moving toward a cyborg architecture, a partnership where the machine handles the math and the human handles the why. The intrigue of the future isn't that the machines are coming, it's that they are forcing us to finally decide what parts of being human are non-negotiable. So we return to the big question we started with. Is the 3D printed world a utopia or a graveyard for human effort? The answer isn't in the printer. The printer is just a tool, as indifferent as a hammer or an axe. The answer is in the source code. If we use this technology to merely maximize profit and minimize human cost, we will find ourselves living in a cold, sterile world of perfect, lonely boxes. But if we use it to democratize beauty, to give every human the power to design their own sanctuary, then we might be entering the greatest era of human expression in history. The humming you hear in the distance? It's not the sound of a machine taking your job, it's the sound of a world being rewritten. We have spent 10,000 years building with our hands. Now, for the first time, we are building with our minds. Just make sure that when you hit print, you're creating a world you actually want to live in. Because once the concrete hardens, there's no going back.